This is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in him. Today we read from 1 Samuel chapter 14 verse 24 to the end of chapter 15. Preceding this chapter, this passage, Jonathan has won a great victory. He and his armor bearer went and attacked the Philistines, causing chaos, which led to the great victory that we read about in the passage. Saul had rashly commanded the men not to eat anything until the evening time, even though they were engaged in a physical battle and physical exertion. This was obviously a foolish command. But because he'd made the oath, he was determined to keep it, and it ended. Jonathan had tasted some honey, and when Saul eventually found out, he was going to kill Jonathan, even though Jonathan had been the instrument that had brought about the great victory, and the people had to protect him. Then we go into the next chapter and we read that he had a command from the Lord to destroy the Amalekites. I want to leave aside this morning the subject of genocide in the Bible. That's a discussion for another time, but just to take this story at its face value. Saul didn't obey. He kept alive the king, he kept alive some sheep and some goats, and then he built a monument to himself. And here we see Saul rising in pride, the rash command in the chapter before, then the disobedience to God's command, the building a monument to himself. His rising pride is there for all to see. And so Saul doesn't obey God. Samuel comes out to see him, and Samuel reminds him, when you were nothing, when you were small in your own sight, the Lord took you and made you ruler of the people. Don't forget where you came from. And for us as Christians too, we must never forget where we came from, and be grateful to the Lord and be obedient to him, for he took us out of the miry clay. If we are a nation of kings and priests today, we once were rebels and far from him and in the depths of sin. And so we must never remember that from where the Lord has taken us, and so be obedient to him and humble in his sight. There was Saul's great mistake. He became proud and puffed up. The Lord save us from the same fate. Saul lost the kingdom, and it was not to go down in his family. It was not to be inherited by his sons. Saul lost the kingdom because of pride and disobedience. Let's not lose God's blessings because of pride and disobedience. Let's remain faithful to him.